Good morning, YouTube. Oh my gosh, I hope y'all slept good. So, if I don't even know where to start. So I pretty much called it. Now, I don't even know how to actually start with this. Let's just get into the information. Okay. I literally only watched because I seen it was posted last night. I literally only watched, as you can see, like a minute 21 of this. Ooh, Brian Enton's gonna be talking about the second. Um, I'm having a brain fart right now. I literally just woke up and went live because I wanted to go live last night, but I was like, "Oh, my husband's gonna go to sleep and my computer's in our bedroom." So I'm like, no, I'll wait." Um, ransom note. There you go. The second ransom note. Okay. I Brian didn't say when it was received, but I looked it up. February 6th is when the second ransom note was received. Nancy went missing on February 1st. So we're gonna watch this, and you're gonna get my full reaction to a lot of this. Like I said, only a minute 21. I was into this. I was like, "Ooh." So let's listen to Brian.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody for supporting my content, everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Some new developments in the Nancy Guthrie case. This is new information that I'm going to share with you guys that I just received a little while ago from a source very close to the investigation that has to do with the ransom notes, the second ransom note in particular. Remember, the ones that went to the local TV stations in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. So like I said, it was late last night when he dropped this. Um, so the second one did go to the local news channel there because I was wondering which ransom note Savannah felt was like actually legit. 'Cause I couldn't remember which one she felt was real. Okay, so the second one did go to the local news channel down there. So now that changes my mindset to thinking that this is like legit real. Because we all know Brian ain't gonna throw shit out there and hopefully it sticks. He ain't gonna do that. So just listen.
And I want to read you this exactly because I wrote down exactly what I was able to get from my source. I am told that the second ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case said that she died and that she was, quote, buried with nature now. And again, this is according to a source.
Okay, so keep in mind this second one was I'm sorry, I just woke up. I'm trying to eat my banana from my breakfast because it's gonna be a minute. We're gonna be sitting here. Um, so the second one was received by the news channel on February 6th. Nancy went missing February 1st, so that's like 5 days from the first that she was still alive. I'll tell you what, Nano's really dropped the ball on this one, but she's buried in nature. If you wrote okay, the person who wrote this second note, if she is truly buried in nature or wherever she's at, spoof your IP, make a brand new account, whatever you gotta do, okay? Message them, send them another email stating where she's at so that the Guthrie family can get her back.
Close to the investigation. The note indicated that Nancy's death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology.
So I wonder, because she didn't have her medication. As far as we know, she didn't have it. So she was able to live 5 days, 5-ish days, give or take a day, forward or backwards. So I think that's why she passed.
So remember, there was the first ransom note that went to the local TV station that was described as a ransom note. Then there was this second ransom note, which is what I'm talking about right now, which you'll remember we had.
See, I don't remember the second one going there. I didn't know. I knew the first one went there, and I thought the second one went to TMZ.
The news director from that TV station on News Nation, who said, Well, I wouldn't categorize the second ransom note as a ransom note. She said the first ransom note she would categorize as a ransom note, but she would not call the second note a ransom note. And this explains why now. Again, I'm going to read it to you again.
Definitely explains why that the second one wasn't a normal quotation marks ransom note. Because I know that I think the one day before, the first one said that it was urgent. Not urgent. What was the word they used? I don't know. But pretty much time is of the essence. There we go. Time is of the essence. And then they got the second one and that she's no longer alive.
According to my source, the second ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case said she died and was buried with nature now, and that the death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology. There's been some other reporting today from other people saying that it was an apology. I am told it was not a direct apology, but that it did indicate that the death was not intentional. Again, this is the second ransom note. Remember, we don't know whether any of these ransom notes are real. Savannah Guthrie has said in the past that she believes that the ransom notes, or at least some of them, are real. And it's interesting. I want to play for you the video that Savannah released on Instagram right after this second ransom note arrived. This one that I am now reporting.
Okay, hold on. So I Googled, which ransom note Savannah thought was legit, whatever. And just it doesn't two specific ransom letters her family received and responded to were authentic, while considering most other notes sent to media outlets as fakes or sick money grabs. Okay. Let me see here. Key details regarding the two notes. Initial note, early February 2026, described to 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie as safe but scared. I remember that. And demanded a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin ransom. Second note, February 6th, included specific non-public details about the scene of the kidnapping, such as Apple Watch and a floodlight. Interesting. I'm trying to think. I want to say I heard something about the Apple Watch, but I can't remember. And I don't remember anything about the floodlight. His sources later reported this note suggested Nancy had passed away shortly after her abduction, with some reports suggesting a request to pay for her remains. What the fuck? I mean, sidebar backstory. I did not have a good relationship with my mom. She died last year. I would not pay for her remains if something happened to her. I mean, I had her cremated. I have her. She's sitting on top of my fireplace. Whatever. But if I had a good relationship with her and this happened, well, fuck yeah, I don't know. I probably would. I probably would pay for it. Now, my stepdad, I definitely would 100% pay for his. Response. The family responded to these two specific communications with Savannah saying, "We received your message." I remember when she said that because it was kind of weird. It was I don't know, the way she said it kind of creeped me out. I remember that. And we understand. So, when was the first one? Early February. So, I'll have to do a little more digging into that one. So, Savannah and the family already knew by February 6th that she had passed away. That makes so much sense now. I mean, we all kind of knew. I mean, look at Nancy, 84, pacemaker, medication. Not having her medication. We kind of all knew or assumed that she had passed away. But now everything's coming around with the way I don't want to say how Savannah and the family acted. Let's say after the second ransom note. I mean, they just wanted their mother's body back. That's what they wanted. But they knew that she was gone. So everything is it's in my mind, everything's there's the puzzle piece.
That Nancy Guthrie died and was buried with nature now. And it kind of makes sense when you now go back and watch what Savannah said on Instagram after receiving that note. Take a look at this.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
There we go.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is
Okay, so this was after the second ransom note, the one that says she has passed away. And Savannah just said, we want you to return our mother to us so we can celebrate." We all had that sneaking suspicion that they were talking about like a memorial or like a viewing or, a funeral. And now it's confirmed that's what Savannah was talking about. Everything is making sense.
the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
It's just so heartbreaking as more of these sort of puzzle pieces come together. You remember that video, you think back to what Savannah Guthrie was going through, and sort of put into perspective now the fact that I can report that that second ransom note did say that Nancy Guthrie died and that she was with nature now.
Anybody want to take a guess of how many days Brian's been sitting or how long Brian's been sitting on this information? I don't know, like his demeanor has changed, so maybe not long enough, but just something we all kind of knew.
Let me make sure I get that quote right, that she was buried with nature now. So that's my latest reporting on the notes. That's what I've been able to confirm. I know there's been a lot of other reporting out there today, and I don't know what's true and what's not, but that is something that I can verify myself, that I've confirmed with my source close to the investigation, who I trust, and you guys know how seriously I take information that I put out. So I talked with my buddy, retired FBI agent Steve Moore, about the latest with the notes. You know, he's still skeptical about whether all of these notes are even real. And by the way, TMZ has been reporting that the notes that they received did not say that Nancy Guthrie died. Now, I don't believe they received the same notes that went to the local TV stations, but it's sort of hard to, sorry, there's a big truck going by. Hard to pin down what note is what. But I want to play for you my conversation with Steve Moore. All right, Steve, how you doing? Nice to see you. Thank you for hopping on with me kind of at the last second. And everybody knows Steve by now who watches my show. If anybody's wondering what happened, you had like a power saw. You have like a little injury here, but was it a power saw?
I was cutting up some wood in the backyard, and somehow I hit something in the wood and it just popped and
Oh shit.
got me in the nose and got me right here, but missed the eye. So
Oh my god, he got lucky. Damn, man, I have one of those little battery powered hand saws, like the blade is only maybe like 6 inches long. Those things are amazing, and I highly suggest you get one. We have like these little trees that decide they're gonna grow up every freaking where, and there's like in my backyard, my neighbors, like me and my neighbor behind me, we used to be best friends, like best friends. We're cool now. I mean, we're okay. We watch each other's kids, all that shit. Well, anyways, between our property line, she's got a shed, and then next to the shed is like this little, it's like a 2 foot by like 3 foot. I don't know what the hell this thing is. It's just randomly there. It's like it's wood. It's kind of like I hate to say it, but it's like a fence for a midget. It's short. And on my side, this freaking stump keeps growing this damn tree, and I use it to cut the branches off. Like this thing, this little chainsaw, I actually got it from Temu, I'm not gonna lie. But this thing, if you give it time, it will cut through a thick ass branch because we were playing around with it, figuring out. But this guy got lucky. Like I know, like that shit kicks back. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways,
all in all, it's a win-win.
Well, thank goodness. Yeah, and it's barely even noticeable. So hopefully you'll be healed up quickly. I wanted to ask you about these new revelations, or maybe incorrect revelations, coming out about the ransom notes. There's this writer, Howard Bloom, who has characterized one of the ransom notes in the Guthrie case as an apology. Now, I've been careful never to say that. What are you sort of reading in between the lines here? I mean, how are you making sense of this?
Well, I'm taking everything that we get post note, the reactions of the Guthrie family, what law enforcement does afterwards, things like that. and trying to come to grips with what might be happening. It's kind of like I may not see everything that's in my backyard right now, but if the dog is barking, I'm guessing there's an animal back there.
Mm.
In the same way, when they get these notes, the way they respond, the police don't seem excited about what they've learned. They're not changing assignments, bringing people in.
Question. Okay, I haven't seen this. Like I said, I was only like a minute and like 20 seconds into this because I wanted you guys to get my reaction. Um, why? I mean, I probably already know the answer to this. If Savannah and her brother and sister, the family, knows that, let's say, the first ransom note and definitely the second one is legit, why isn't the FBI, CIA, who they would bring the CIA in? I don't know. But anyways, like, like those higher up, like intelligent um units, whatever. Why are they not trying to trace back where these are coming from? I know they can. I know the FBI can. Like, just start tracing like IEP or IEP. Oh my god, IP addresses. And then, because I know I'm assuming whoever sent it, they're smart. They probably bounced it through one IP to another IP to another IP. You know what I mean? Like, why are they not tracing? But then, as soon as I said the question in my mind that I wanted to ask, I was like, Nanos. Nanos didn't let the well, I don't want to say didn't let, but he told the FBI their servers weren't needed at that time. Wow, did he drop the ball on that one?
And letting people go, and the Guthries are not publicly saying, yes, we're relieved to see this, and please tell her that we love her, and all this kind of stuff. Nothing in the responses convinced me in any way, shape, or form that either they had proof of life, or that the kidnappers or the criminals who had her or alleged to have had her uh, had any kind of conciliatory tone in their message. I didn't pick anything like that up, because a conciliatory message in one of these notes leads to a huge amount of relief and some trust built up between the horrible people who took the person and the people who want that person back. And it's kind of like the Stockholm syndrome.
Okay, okay, pause for a minute. Sidebar a little bit. I'm the type of person I read too much into things. I have anxiety. Okay. Um, I kind of wonder if the person who sent the second ransom note, that she is no longer alive, buried in nature, um, if they actually had empathy, if they actually had a heart, they, they cared. So we can assume at this point, because there was 5 ransom notes, we can assume the first 2 were legit. From what Brian said, both of them went to the news station that Savannah worked at. Maybe that's where, like, they knew Savannah from. I'm sure they know she's on the Today Show. Why didn't the Today Show get these emails? Because that's where Savannah was working at. And then we can assume that the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ransom note, because there was 5, if you missed it, there was 5. We can assume those last 3 were completely just garbage, just fake. Like, I don't I'm still stuck on the FBI. Why didn't they trace it? You know what I mean? Like, it's ugh.
If they treat you well in these notes and give hope, I mean, that
Yeah, see, he said
good
they treat you well and give you hope in these notes, the first 2 notes. The first one, time is of the essence, and then boom, the second one comes, she's no longer alive. Like, time is of the essence from the first one tells me that this person does have empathy. They probably do feel bad. They care. The second one is telling me the exact same thing because they didn't have to. They didn't have to send that. They Nancy could have just passed away, and they could have been like, "Well, shit, there goes our chances at money," and then just dumped her somewhere and left the family wondering. So, it's telling me that this person does feel something, has empathy, does care.
Uh, uh, Kidnapper will be stern and in control, but give hope. These clowns did none of that. They destroyed hope and replaced it with false bravado because I don't believe they had anything to trade by that point. So any kind of
Duh.
information that there was an apology, I think that's going to be kind of a non-starter with me.
Would it be unusual for
Apologies
a
are good.
kidnapper to apologize? I mean, has that ever happened before?
Oh my god,
Stop
hold
letting
on.
hard water
Sorry.
ruin your hair. I
I
have hard
refuse to
water, and so for the
control.
longest
Here we go.
I have not heard a kidnapper apologize
They
except
won't.
pre-sentencing.
Yeah.
I am not.
They're only gonna apologize right then and there for pre-sentencing, hoping it's a fucking Hail Mary is what it is. So the judge doesn't go hard on them and they don't get life kind of thing. That's the only time you're ever gonna get an apology. Like, I do not expect, let's say, note 1 and note 2, whoever sent that or whose, okay, 2, they're not gonna be like, "Oh, hey, I am so sorry about your mom. We fucked up, this, that, and the other." They're not gonna do that unless they get caught because 'cause they're gonna throw a Hail Mary.
Saying that it doesn't happen because somebody takes a person and holds them for ransom. Uh, Sometimes they realize the gravity of what they've done, and they still don't want to get caught, but they certainly don't want to hurt the person. And sometimes they negligently or in a fit of rage do hurt the person, and remorse shows up. But again, these are not. I mean, technically, they're professional kidnappers, but they're first timers.
So an apology would be unusual.
I would say an apology would be extremely unusual. And, anything like that puts a different take on the kidnapper itself.
So with my busy travel and work
Oh my
schedule, it
god,
can be
Brian.
tough to stay
Hold on.
consistent with my routine and feel confident that I'm getting the quality sleep
It
that
kinda
I
makes me
need. And
sad
I
that
used to
Brian's doing this
struggle
stuff
with
now.
turning
Hold
my
on.
brain off at night and truly
A
winding
long ass
down after a
okay.
in for the deal and get a better night's sleep.
What you're looking for, I mean, we've got behavioral scientists writing or taking down every single thing that's said, whether the person misspells this letter or that letter, whether their lines go up or down, if it's a handwritten note or something like that. They go through all these things and start to create a psychological profile, much the same as a psychiatrist meeting with a patient is going to try to figure out what they're dealing with. And if you had somebody who was suddenly showing remorse or a conciliatory tone, that would have changed the FBI's view of the whole
But
negotiation.
that's put like, if you want, say it in the chat, or if you're on the replay crew, put it in the comments. What how do I wanna put this? These 2 notes, don't they make you think like, or to me, it makes me feel like they got a little bit of remorse, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they got empathy, like, didn't I don't know about this guy. I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, he's trained, this is his job, but coming from somebody who knows nothing about that world, that's just what I'm getting. Like, is that what you guys get? Like, you kind of feel like they they didn't have to say she's gone, she's in, in the ground with nature. They could have just not sent another one and been dicks about it and and continuously give this family hope that their mother is still alive. I don't know. That's just I'm sorry. I'm
If there was a negotiation.
After the one note, Steve, that was described to me as not a ransom note, Savannah Guthrie made another video message, and you might remember it. It's when she said, "We received your message and understand." And she sounded kind of like sympathetic a little bit when she said that. "We received your message and understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so we can celebrate with her. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay." Um, and again, TMZ is saying that there was never an acknowledgement that Nancy Guthrie was dead in the notes, but that when Savannah said that, it did make me wonder what was in the note to make her say that.
And it's, one day when we get to see that note, when it's public in court or something like that, we'll understand completely and say, "Oh, yeah, I get that." But I think something doesn't have to be said verbatim in a kidnapping note
Mm.
for it to be obvious either to the victims themselves, the victim family themselves, or the FBI. The FBI's seen a bunch of ransom notes. They've seen all the ransom notes, and they can, through their institutional knowledge, even call in people like you're asking me questions about what does it say to you at this point? Have you had anybody make a conciliatory or an apologetic message?
The second one felt not apologetic to me because we don't know what was all in that note. Like, I called it from the beginning. I said, when all this the information stopped coming out to the public, I'm like, we're gonna slowly get little tidbits, and we are slowly getting little tidbits of what's in these ransom notes. It sucks that it's been how many months now, but I don't know, like, I just feel like that second one, they had a heart and they wanted the family to be able to grieve the loss of their mother.
The FBI has all these things filed out with different kidnapping situations. And you can call an office, you can call Cleveland, for instance, hypothetically, and say, "Hey, who let us talk to the agent who had the conciliatory kidnapper who felt very guilty and bad. We want to see how you worked with them." So the FBI has all these possibilities. And so nothing's going to ultimately be too big a surprise. Excuse me. So I think whatever was in that note convinced either the FBI or the Guthrie family that they were no longer, regardless of what the note said, um, in a situation where they were playing for the return of a live, unharmed victim.
And she said, "We will pay" at the end of that message. Why do you think they didn't pay?
Uh,
Oh, hold on. I think it was the FBI, I'm pretty sure it was the FBI. It was some type of LE. They did put around 200, I think it was like 270 some dollars into that Bitcoin account. But that's all I ever heard about it. And I actually just heard about it a couple days ago, and I'm pretty sure it was from Brian Enton. Um, and I don't think it was touched. So maybe they do have a heart and they're like, no, we're not going to take this money. But we all know that's not true.
there could be a bunch of reasons. That said, I'm going to tell you what I suspect. If I was running the kidnapping, and I did, they probably wouldn't want to put me in charge of a kidnapping. But if I was running it, one thing I would not do is um, voluntarily or at least eagerly advocate for paying ransom when no proof of life has been given.
Yeah, no. No,
Um,
ain't doing it.
it is just, number one, it goes beyond the kidnapping you're working now. It's kind of like giving in to terrorists. Terrorists say, we've got these hostages. We want our prisoners released. Well, if that works, you're going to get more hostages taken. And so you don't want to set a precedent. In kidnapping, if you pay without proof of life, you might potentially not lodge. I think it's a very bad indicator that you would get the person alive if they're not willing to provide proof of life. That's number
Right.
one. But number two, down the line, people who you don't even know and who don't know that they will ever have to deal with the FBI as family victims of a kidnapper, you've just reduced their chances of getting their person back alive. Because at that point, all you have to do is take the person out of the house, kill them, bury them, and get the money and run.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have paid.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say the sort of the rationale for the FBI not wanting to pay, and it makes sense, especially with your analogy about like terrorists, then you just encourage it in the future. Oh, people will pay for ransoms. But I think it's different when you're the person whose mom it is. At least I'm just putting myself in Savannah's shoes.
No,
Um,
and
if
you're
I had,
absolutely
especially
right.
if I had a lot of money. I mean, if I had like, I don't know how much money Savannah Guthrie has, but if I had like, 40, $50 million and it was my mom, I might be saying to the FBI, I hear what you're saying, but like, I just want to pay the 4 million.
Shop the Kate Spade Margot bag.
Sorry
Oh
to
my
interrupt,
God.
but this is
Is there
important.
two?
The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you, Brian, because number one, it's not the FBI's decision, and it shouldn't be the FBI's decision. And as much as it's just another, and trust me, it's never treated this way, but just because it can be perceived as just another in a string of FBI kidnappings, it is the only one. God forbid that it shouldn't be, that this family will ever go through. This is their one shot. And if the FBI loses, they lose a case. They lose a chance to get somebody.
Well, we already know. I don't want to say the FBI lost their case or, lost it. They weren't allowed to jump right in right from the beginning. So we cannot blame the FBI. It's Nanos. It's all falling back on the Nanos. The releasing of this crime scene super early and just the shit that he's pulled.
back and they lose a chance to prosecute somebody. In this case, if they lose their mother forever. And
I kind of feel like okay, if the second ransom note is legit, I want to say it is, but we need to see these notes and we our own selves need to look at these notes, read these notes, interpret these notes, how, we interpret things. But I forgot what I was going to say now. I don't remember. Damn it.
So you cannot, as an FBI agent, go in there and say, this is what we're going to do. God, no, you can't do that. But you can sit down and you can have the conversation with the family and say, this is where hard conversations come. It's kind of like when, you go to the doctor and they say that.
Sorry, I remember what I was going to say. With the family, losing Nancy, if the second note is legit and she has passed away, they've already lost her. The second thing that comes to mind about this is if these kidnappers never speak, they're going to lose her body forever. Almost. Unless somebody stumbles across it or that team that's out there that's working right now in Mexico finds her, they're never going to find her. And that's what sucks because they need to be able to grieve. They need to I don't want to say physically see, but if you physically see a body, that's when it sets in. Like, holy shit, they are dead kind of thing.
Tests are back. Are you sitting down? This is when you go in and you sit and you're dealing with people who hurt and weep and sob. So it never isn't important to the agent who's with them. But this is where you say they haven't provided proof of life. There's no logic for them not to provide proof of life. There's nothing by proof of life that would make or less able to find out where they are. You can do proof of life fairly easy without a background and this kind of stuff. And they're not doing it.
Mm-mm.
And that usually, statistically, means that they no longer have anything to trade. And that is when the room gets silent except for sobs. And it's kind of like the stages of acceptance of death. You go to anger, then you go to frustration, then you go to, not in order, but then you get to acceptance. Some people never get past anger and doing anything they can. I don't care if I lose every penny I have. I'm not going to go to the grave with my mom meeting me in heaven saying you didn't do everything. It's hard to get a rational family, and I don't mean I should say it's hard to get even a rational family when they're under this kind of pressure to behave in a calculating way, understanding the probabilities.
Mm. Mm-mm. Mm.
So it's my understanding with Bitcoin, and I know there's different ways to look at this, but that once it's anonymous in many ways, but once the money is taken out of the account, it becomes easier to trace the person. Um, so
Okay, so question. That's what the original ransom note said about the Bitcoin. I think it's like $100 million or something like that, or whatever. And then it got dropped down. We know that it got dropped down to like 65,000 or something like that in Bitcoin. I don't know. But anyways, um, how do I want to ask this? Like, w- I'm drawing a blank. Um, the the kidnappers, they already know that it can be traced. Why would they ask that? So that's like another. Oh, are these 2 ransom notes, are they legit? Then I keep coming back to, like, we all trust and we love Ryan Enton. He wouldn't put it out there if he wasn't 100% sure about it. So that's why I'm, like, on the fence with these 2 notes now. One, the kidnappers know the Bitcoin can be traced, and then on the other side, you got Brian Enton over here that's, like, putting this stuff out. So it's like, I'm kinda like, I don't know, like, I'm in the middle. I don't know, you know what I mean?
with that rationale, wouldn't the FBI have wanted them to pay so the money would go in and then the person would take it out, and then the chances of them being able to figure out who that person was would go up?
Right. What I would say is there are plus and minuses to everything you do. And so if they say, yeah, if we pay, then we have a better chance on the back end of finding them as opposed to them remaining anonymous. So that's one positive, and we'll put the positive over here.
Okay.
But the negative is good chance you lose. So that's the negative here. If we don't know who they are and they don't think there's any chance they could get caught, there's very little incentive for them to give your mother back. That's a negative. So you go back and forth, and you can't say, or I don't mean it to sound like this. It is not as simple as saying that, yes, that would benefit us that way if you paid it, and saying, so that's what we want you to do. You have to balance out the positives or the negative in any kidnapping situation, and because everything is tied, number one, to getting the victim back alive, and number two, to identifying the people who have that person, in that order. And if your number one goal, getting the person back alive, seems to be now a pipe dream, then you work hard on number two. The problem with that is, would you pay $60 million for a potential clue?
Would the FBI ever pay? Do they have an account? Would they ever say it's worth it to us? We'll put up the form.
Another question is, how come there was never any proof of life? You know what I mean? Like, have her hold up today's newspaper kind of thing. Like, why was there never any proof of life? So that's bringing me back to the 2 ransom notes were not legit. Like, I feel like I'm being pulled to, like, Brian Enton's side, and then I'm being pulled to this other side that maybe these ransom notes aren't real kind of thing. There will be more information about these notes coming out. It could be another it could be 6 months. It could be a year. It could be tomorrow. That's what I was saying, like, this stuff is gonna slowly, as a snail slow, come out, and that's what sucks. Because like, yes, granted, us public people, we don't need to know this information. They have no legit reason to tell us this, unless it's like, we need to be worried because this person or persons are going to do it again, kind of thing, but there we got lucky with this information. I mean, we all knew that she was gone, but we didn't have the proof.
Million, hoping we get it back, and it's worth it to us because that's going to help us track down who did this.
You know, Brian, I've never said things about the FBI that might compromise their ability to go forward. So I don't want to comment on what the FBI can or cannot do. But I would tell you that the FBI has resources with which to do the appropriate things. And
We all know FBI's got everything. They probably got shit we don't even know about. Like, we know they can do this stuff, and that's why, like, I'm like, FBI, why didn't you get in there sooner?" kind of thing, but we all know they couldn't.
Beyond that, if I spoke in detail on it, it would compromise their ability to go forward and do things.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, do you think they're having any regrets
That's right, what he's talking
with
about.
because that was in this new article, that was kind of one of the points that he was trying to make, which I wasn't really sure what to think about. I mean, that there's regret about how the notes specifically were handled, and that maybe by paying they would be in a different.
All right, hold on.
Situation right now.
Absolutely. I mean, there's always going to be, unless you have, and even then, you have a perfect result. You always do these hot washes afterwards, a debrief on it, and you go. I mean, this is in best case scenario. You sit down, and for a day or two, you're going to sit down with everybody involved and said, "How could we have done this better? How could we have done this quicker? Why did it take so long? We had success, but
why it took so long.
This person was abused by the kidnappers for an extra 24 hours because we missed this or we missed that." That's on a good situation. When you get to a case that was never resolved in the way you wanted it to be, when the victim sadly is not recovered, and maybe even payment was made, there is nobody who doesn't wake up. Brian, I've been retired for 10 years now. I still look back at cases, when you wake up at 4 a.m. and you're all stressed out, and I think, why in the world did we just not keep searching this one location? It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, but it's doubly hard when it's bad. You are going to second guess everything you did. So if somebody said the FBI is not second guessing anything, that person either is not in the know or the FBI hasn't confided in them. Because I have people that I talk to, good friends of mine, who still say, on that case, if we had just done this, like I said, I get it.
What if?
Maybe you were right. I still, based on what I had at the time, I think I made the right decision, even if it turns out later it was the wrong.
Right. Yeah, I guess we just have to remember the agents are human. The people making the decisions are human. It's not like they always know the perfect solution, especially right in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, it is. And I used to tell the agents I worked with that to err is human, and you're dealing with a superhuman here. So you do the best you can, and you realize that you're the FBI. You were chosen for this. You have to have confidence in your abilities. And if you don't, and if you're not willing to make a decision that could haunt you, you shouldn't be there.
Yeah. When TMZ put out the statement today saying kind of going against
We'll
what the
go and
what
watch.
Howard Bloom said.
After this, I got some, news articles. I mean, it's probably gonna say the same thing, but we'll go and watch those. Um, I wanna check out the TMZ. Like I said, this dropped late last night, and I wanted to go live about it, but I wanted to give Brian the time to get his views on this. So, but we'll go and we'll scatter around or not scatter. We'll skate around the internet and see what we can find.
They're saying, there was no apology, there was no mention of death. They also said something interesting that I wanted to see your take on. This was from TMZ. They say that we told the FBI we wanted to do a documentary and asked how the agency would feel if we paid the Bitcoin to see
Yeah,
where
I heard
it
about
would
that.
lead. We did not want to interfere with the investigation or the Guthrie family, so we asked the FBI if that would be helpful. They said it was, quote, interesting and would get back to us. What's interesting is we've tried contacting the FBI at least half a dozen times since, and they have ghosted us. The FBI has always been responsive, and they genuinely want to solve this case, but for some reason, this struck a nerve, and we don't know why.
Well, what I would tell TMZ is if the FBI is not returning your call, maybe they're just not that into you. It's for them to say it's interesting is a nice non-committal answer. The first thing, if that was suggested to me, the first thing I would think of is now I'm partnering with TMZ to get a kidnapper, and it's all going to be public. I can find not a single positive thing that could come out of that as far as law enforcement and saving Nancy. Doesn't.
I seen this, what they're talking about. I didn't realize that this information about Nancy had came out, 'cause I seen this a little bit earlier before I stumbled upon Brian's thing. Um, there is for TMZ to do this, honestly, I think it's a ratings grab. It's a view grab. That's what it is. And they know they're with this information coming out, they're gonna be able to get the views and get more money. That's just how TMZ is. Well, this could go it could go one of two ways. One, it could go, like I don't wanna say this. I gotta backtrack a little bit. So the person that Harvey had been emailing back and forth with, we don't know if it's the same person who sent the first 2 ransom notes. It could be freaking Tom over here that's doing whatever the hell he wants to do and is just trying to stir up shit. And think about it. So let's say TMZ does do this doc about it, and this guy agrees to it, but it's not the person. He has nothing to do with this. If it's Tom over here just being like giggling and laughing about, "Oh, look, I made TMZ do this," kind of bullshit. It could go horribly wrong and push the actual kidnappers more underground. Okay? Now, the other way it could go, Tom is legit. He has something to do with the kidnapping. He knows he's like, "Hey, yo, I'll do this if I can get immunity, if I can keep, like they blur his face out or something, voice change, they don't use his real name. Like if he can give the information about where she's at, who did it, but he wants to remain anonymous." That could also help. So it could go either way, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Doesn't matter. If the FBI thought that paying the ransom would have resulted in getting Nancy back, they wouldn't be asking for a loan from TMZ. It's a big government. They take more in taxes in a couple days than TMZ can give them. So partnering with TMZ for anything is like playing Russian roulette with a full gun.
Yeah, and this whole thing from the beginning has been a little awkward with TMZ, just because, and nothing against TMZ. I mean, truthfully, normally they're right with the reporting they do, but the way they get the reporting, some have called suspect in the past, and I think it's been awkward because they became a legit part of the investigation instead of just covering it.
Well, yeah, I would say that their involvement was legit. I don't think they're a legit partner in this any more than a
He doesn't like TMZ
than
anymore.
a I just it's a stringer network, And it's like dealing with 1,000 informants all at the same time, and the FBI doesn't trust its own informants. So it would. I could not imagine any FBI agent, any FBI case agent or supervisor accepting that kind of involvement.
They've also claimed that they've gotten more notes even within the last, I think, couple of months,
What?
that have come in possibly from the kidnapper. I mean, just
Mhm.
based on the little that we do know about the profile of this person, do you think they would continue sending notes, or do you think they, at this point, they're just going to go
No,
into hiding?
they're hiding. I 100% believe they're hiding. This is truth, we're gonna mute this. Yeah, I think they're hiding. I don't think these ransom notes that TMZ is getting
I
is,
don't
like,
know enough
actual
based on,
legit.
I don't know what the wording is on the notes. I haven't spoken to any profilers on this. And if I did, they would say, what case? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They, so I can't give you an intelligent answer on that. I would say that if the FBI felt that this person still wanted to talk, there would be public feelers from the family about continuing discussions. The fact that nobody said that indicates to me
We don't know
that
that.
either the person has gone to ground and is ghosting the FBI, or the FBI doesn't believe that there is any likely possibility of going forward with success in trying to get them to talk to them. The other thing is, I have never been on a case that had large public involvement where people didn't try to get involved in the case. The analogy here would be sending fake ransom notes, or
Oh god, I don't how do I wanna say this without actually saying the name? There is it's through the grapevine, it could be a rumor, we don't know, but a lot of people are pointing fingers at a certain YouTube creator that, has been known to do what is necessary to get the views, if that makes any sense. Okay, so they're pointing the fingers at this person, saying that this person is the person who has been sending the ransom notes to TMZ, just so, like, they can cover it and get the views and, watch hours and all that and get paid for it. That's the thing on the street. I'm not gonna say any names of who it is because I don't know for a fact, but just keep in mind that, like, why would a kidnapper send freaking TMZ the ransom notes when the first 2 went to Savannah's old news station? So I'm kinda wondering now, it just popped in my head, if the first 2 went to the news station there down in Arizona, is this person local? Why would they send them to there? And, there's just so many questions that are unanswered, and we're probably never gonna get the answers to all these questions, but I really hope somebody stumbles or just happens to be out for a hike and finds Nancy.
saying, I know where Nancy is. I'll lead her to you for $25,000. All this stuff can you get after the predators have left. You get the scavengers. You get the crows, and you get the vultures just trying to come in and
He's talking
consume
about
anything, any possibility that's left in this case.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen
Oh,
several
haven't we?
times,
Yeah.
with
You see it in
with
just about every case. That is why, again, one of the things that just blows me away is that a legitimate kidnapper with a brain in their head would involve public agencies, especially TMZ and news stations, in transmitting ransom notes. They think,
I don't think
this
they're
is going to
legit.
keep it in the public eye, or this is going to make sure it's transmitted correctly to. No, it's not. It tells you, number one, you may not know how to get in touch with the Guthrie family, which indicates your level of expertise. And number two, it says that you think that you can use these organizations when they're going to use you. So it's just foolishness is in, it may come down, when this is solved, that this was something like the Riddler and the Joker put together, and that even Batman couldn't solve it. But generally, your average failed criminal or who screwed up a case like this is an amateur who thought they were better than they were.
Yep.
Are you still skeptical that any of these ransom notes are even real?
I'm skeptical about all of them. Being unable, and trust me, it kills me, not to be in that squad bay, not to be in that conference room going over these notes with profilers. I mean, that was the joy and the excitement of the job, is saying, what do you think about this? And having them all out on a thing. Does this one doesn't match this one because the language is completely different. This person, this never used that word and never used this one. And you can pretty much tell right away who's that one person wrote this, and this note, another one wrote this, and this.
So now I'm wondering, with him saying this, with like the word is different from whatever, if the FBI or whoever was taking the first two seriously, and then they're like, okay, these third ones, they don't have, okay, the first two had empathy, had remorseful, like them, they don't have to give this information to the family. They don't have to. And then these other three are like, there's no empathy, there's no remorse, there's no the person feeling bad. So that kind of makes me wonder, like, are the first two actually legit and the three aren't? Like, I don't know. My brain works in a weird way, I'm gonna tell you.
Note whether or not either of those people are involved, we don't know, but you can start separating them out and breaking them into categories and stuff like this. So I would suspect that some are real, or a minority are real, and I would say maybe one, two, or three, or I'd say two or three that the FBI believes are accurate, true, and from the appropriate people. It's not going to say that if you have 10 agents in the room, that 10 are going to unanimously decide that they're not going to agree. But if you can get 8 out of 10, you say, yeah, we're going to go forward with this. I might sit in the room and disagree with them. People will tell you that in the FBI, that I was sometimes contrarian. But I think 2, maybe 3 were likely, and that there is not there's not an ongoing communication.
Really appreciate Steve for taking the time to talk with me. A lot of moving pieces today. There's been a lot of reporting that's out, but again, I can only confirm what I know from my sources, which is, again, that the second note said that Nancy Guthrie died, that she was buried with nature now, that there was not a direct apology, but that the
So if she's buried with nature, there's that Spanish group that's out there in Mexico digging. Kind of makes you wonder, like, the information that they're getting about, oh, she's in this area in Mexico, if it's legit. Because, like, you got to think, like, if this was cartel related, I assume the cartel would show proof of life. I'm just assuming they may not do that. I don't know. I'm not part of the cartel. Thank God. But I would just assume they would show proof of life because it's a cartel. They want their money. So they would put steps in this to ensure that they're going to get their money. Proof of life is one of the steps. So I don't think this is cartel related at all. But I kind of want to believe that the information that this group in Mexico is getting is legit based on Brian saying she's buried in nature. She could be here in the States, somewhere in the States, somewhere around Tucson. We don't know. Because when I think nature, I think, like, because I'm from the eastern side of the States, okay? When I think nature, I think woods. I think, walking through a forest or whatever. We call them woods here. And it's like, like, I don't know how to explain it if you're not on the eastern side. Um Like, okay, where my house is, my front of my house faces south. If I look out my front window, probably about a mile out of town, I can see some woods, and there's farm field around it. It's not huge, it's not like a jungle or anything. It's just hunters go up in these woods and deer hunt. It's not huge. But that's what I think when I hear nature. That's nature to me. Or like a field of like overgrown grass with the butterflies and the wildflowers. Like that's so pretty, by the way. But that's what I think of nature, being out in nature or going for a walk along the river. Here where I'm at, our rivers, we have trees on both sides. Sometimes in the middle of the river. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird. But going for a walk, like we have a towpath along our river from back in the day. You can walk that towpath and there's trees on both sides of this towpath. Like that's just like the nature that I'm thinking.
Note indicated that the death was not intentional. As always, I mean, I'm just thinking of the families. We're learning this information now. Obviously, they've known this. And when I say families, I mean Nancy Guthrie's family. Just think about what they've been going through with this whole nightmare. So that's the latest today. I'm trying to nail all this down. I'll keep you guys posted if anything else develops.
Okay. We're done with Brian Enton. I did. Dang it, it's not showing me. Why is it not showing me? Yeah. Here we go. Look at some of these articles. Let me refresh it. Let's see here. People Magazine, 13 minutes ago. Report on Mom Nancy's death or possible. Savannah Guthrie makes a tearful plea on Today's Show as colleagues report Mom Nancy's possible death. Oh, what? They did it on the Today Show? Date, June 23rd. See if this is going to load here. Come on. Loading ad. Okay, we'll wait. We'll wait on that. Need to know. Savannah Guthrie made an emotional plea on Today's Show for help to find her mother, who was abducted in February. New information revealed. A second note suggests Nancy Guthrie may have died, but no suspects have been named. There has been talk, and I say that with very lightly and with a grain of salt, that they do have a couple suspects, or they have a suspect that I know of. I don't know the name or anything. It's just something I heard in passing. So do your own research. Find out, what is this crap popping up? Oh my God. Savannah and her family are offering $1 million reward for information and urge anyone with tips to come forward. Let's see if we can skip this ad here. Can I make this bigger? There we go. With this. Let me see. Savannah Guthrie. Is this just a fucking slideshow? People. Savannah plead with viewers on June 23rd.
This is unusual and unprecedented, to say the least, to be sitting here. But, I don't have any comment on the story, and I'm not involved in our coverage. But I can't pretend I'm not here. And so since I am, I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people to beg people to come forward. Somebody knows something. And this is a news story today that is on your radar, but this is the life that my sister lives, that I live, that my brother lives, that our extended families live, that our children live every day. And we are in agony. And we cannot be at peace.
Oh God, I wanted to cry. I'm like, my eyes kind of hurt right now. Comes after the reporting on the second ransom note sent days after. The message was publicly acknowledged in February, but its contents were not made public. NBC News claims the note indicated Nancy died and requested payment for her body.
We need your help. We're begging for your help. And I'm not going to miss that opportunity. And so please, if you're watching, yes, no matter how small, the reward is there. You can tell us. It can be anonymous. Please do the right thing for us, for our family, for our children.
The first ransom note reported demanding millions of dollars of Bitcoin in exchange for Nancy's return. Investigators familiar with the case believe the same person or people likely sent both notes. They're talking about the first and the second, okay? The two messages did not originate from the same IP address. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, that's new information. But the sender allegedly used... Gosh dang it, hold on, let me pause this so I can read it. Oh, come on. Sender allegedly used the same type of source.
We love our mom and we'll never stop looking for her. Never.
Damn it. Wait, I wanted to see what that said. Maybe,
Introducing
hold on.
Keurig's first coffee ever, composed with a medley.
Okay, hold on. Maybe it'll say it in here. Reporting the information of the notes sent to multiple media outlets, Melvin shared during the show's 8 a.m. hour before cutting to a segment about the investigation. NBC report that the second message sent days after Nancy's disappearance claimed that she had died. So she went missing on February 1st. The second note was received on February 6th. So that's 5 days after she went missing. So I'm thinking she lived for 5 days. If this note is legit, 5 days. The note contained no apology, no request for payment for the release of her body. The outlet reported, citing 3 people familiar with the matter. There is still no major update or break in the case. I want to see what it said with
bravery and courage with which you have done this job every day since that happened. Nothing short of remarkable.
Wow.
Nothing short of remarkable.
I love you guys and I love this place, and this is unusual and unprecedented to say the least to be sitting here. But, I don't have any comment on the story, and I'm not involved in our coverage. But I can't pretend I'm not here. And so since I am, I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people to beg people to come forward. Somebody knows something. And this is a news story today that is on your radar, but this is the life that my sister lives, that I live, that my brother lives, that our extended families live, that our children live every day. And we are in agony. And we cannot be at peace. So no matter how much I try to come out here every day and smile and find that joy, and I will, I promise I will. This is a moment to tell you that we need your help. We're begging for your help. And I'm not going to miss that opportunity. And so please, if you're watching,
Yes.
No matter how small, the reward is there. You can tell us. It can be anonymous. Please do the right thing for us, for our family, for our children. And we love our mom and we'll never stop looking for her. Never.
To your point, if you have any information, if you're watching, if you're listening, if you have any information at all that could help investigators and could help this family find just a modicum of peace, the phone number is right there on your screen. 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Oh, my eyes hurt. Oh my god. I feel so bad for her. Not knowing. I mean, I'm sure her sister, and her brother, they've all came to a realization. Mom's not here on earth with us anymore. They want her back. And I'm gonna start crying. Oh no. Oh my god. That's horrible. I feel so bad for them not knowing. Hollywood Report. I want to CNN. Let's look at CNN. I want to look at major news outlets. A note connected to the disappearance. Gosh, yeah, whatever. Disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, said she had died. Aw. We cannot be at peace. Savannah Guthrie makes an emotional plea on Today's Show. Is this gonna play the same thing? Why is this? Why go away? Okay, I guess not. Connected to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of we already know that. God. I feel like I'm back in the early 90s with all the damn pop-ups. Okay, so she died. Multiple law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation told CNN. Wait, said she had died. Multiple law enforcement sources briefed on the investigation. So there's more. Okay, so this sounds like if there's multiple sources, they're taking this legit. Oh my god. It sounds like they are taking this. Jose, what are you doing? My dog is under my desk. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? Get out from under the desk, dude. If you guys want to see my cute puggle, go to my shorts. You okay? What are you doing? He's just standing under my desk. Let's see. It followed a first note that demanded a ransom of millions of dollars. Investigators believed they are legitimate communications from the kidnappers. Okay, so I still, even if the investigators believe they're legit, I'm more of a show me proof and I'll believe it kind of person. That's how I've always been. Like, I need the proof. Like, I need to see it with my own eyes. But we've got to take the word. Well, we don't have to take the word. We can have our own opinion, but okay, he's gone. Let me see. The second note said Nancy Guthrie was dead and they did not mean to kill her. Okay, so that sounds kind of like she needed her medication, I would assume. So maybe that's what happened. Like, cause I think she was on blood thinners. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that she was on blood thinners because she had the pacemaker. So maybe her blood just finally thickened up and it clogged it. That there's so many reasons where how she could have died. Or you know, this did not mean to kill her, but she died shortly after the kidnapping, according to law enforcement sources. What are you doing? Okay. The family reported with an emotional video on February 7th when Savannah Guthrie said, "We received your message and we understand." Because remember, it was sent on the 6th, so this is the day after. So I'm kind of wondering if they, I don't want to say knew because they, well, maybe FBI knew. I don't know. But maybe they're like, okay, they're watching Savannah. They've got eyes on Savannah. So they're watching her Instagram, TikTok, Book a Face, all that stuff. Like they're watching to see what she does. You know what I mean? So that's probably why they did that. The contents of the second note were known to CNN and a Tucson, Arizona television station, local news department that received both notes. CNN and the news station agreed to a request from law enforcement and the family to hold off on reporting the contents of both notes so any future communications with the kidnapper or kidnappers could be authenticated. We already knew that. We already know Ellie told the Guthrie family, keep your mouth shut. Don't. And if you're going to make a video, this is what you're going to say. Oh, God, I hope they find her. It's heartbreaking. Questions surrounding the ransom note resurfaced Monday after TMZ founder Harvey is it Levin? I'm just gonna call him Harvey. Posted a video addressing reports about a letter related to Nancy. We're gonna go and check that out. Harvey said claims that he received a ransom note apologizing to Savannah Guthrie and her family for Nancy Guthrie's kidnapping and death. Wait, what? Harvey said claims that he received a ransom note apologizing to Savannah Guthrie and her family for Nancy Guthrie's kidnapping and death were false. What? So we've got 2 ransom notes. Okay, so let me get this straight. 2 ransom notes go to Savannah's old TV station. The second one says she's passed away and she's in nature. And then Harvey gets a note saying that, am I reading this right? That second note were false? Am I reading this right? Like, what? We're gonna listen, hold on. We're gonna go to TMZ. Hold on. Because I have got to read, I gotta watch this for myself. Let's see. TMZ setting the record straight. It is exactly, and I think when was this? 20 hours ago. Okay, hold on. We're gonna watch this because okay.
With these
Hold on. We're gonna start this over. Sounds up.
I want to talk about Nancy Guthrie and some communications I've had with the FBI that I haven't talked about until now. But I want to start with these reports that this ransom letter that we received kind of apologizes to Savannah Guthrie and her family for the kidnapping, and that that Nancy was no longer alive. That was not in the ransom note that we received. It is not in that ransom note at all. It does say that she's scared, but okay. But the ransom note makes no reference to Nancy Guthrie.
Though that was the first ransom note that she was scared and whatnot. That was the first one. So what the fuck?
Either dying or the kidnappers apologizing. Now, there is a reference to Nancy Guthrie not being alive anymore, but that is from the person who sent us multiple emails
Mm.
saying that he knows or knew where Nancy Guthrie was and where the kidnappers were, and he wanted money in return for information. We passed that along to the FBI as we did the ransom note, but this person kept sending us emails. And early on, he said, time.
Hold on. Hold on. We've watched the movies. If you're in the true crime era on here, on the community on here, you know that if somebody's kidnapped, they're gonna send at least one ransom note. One. Okay? They're gonna give all the information, details. If they want it in a Bitcoin account, they want it in a bank account, they want it in cash in the trash can at the park 3 miles away. They're gonna send all that information in. I do not believe that any of these ransom notes that I'm kidding. Y'all are getting my reaction right now. I do not believe any of these ransom notes that TMZ has gotten are legit. I don't believe it at all. Nope, not no.
Is of the essence. And then a few days after the kidnapping, he said, time is no longer of the essence, meaning she wasn't alive. So that's where that came from. Not the people who kidnapped her, but from the person who was sending us these notes. Now, that person wanted effectively $100,000. He actually reduced it at some point, but that's what he wanted in return for giving information about the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie or her remains and the kidnapper. This person also said that he was afraid that he might be implicated. He had a burglary on his record from, I think he said, 11 years before. And apparently he knew these kidnappers well enough that he was afraid he might be implicated. He also said he wanted to go underground, which is why he needed the money, because he was afraid that they would exact revenge on him for blowing the whistle.
Okay, wait, I remember all of this coming out and I kind of just brushed it off because, like, who the fuck sends emails or however TMZ received these ransom notes? Who sends them to TMZ? 15 minutes of fame. It could be somebody in this office because they need the views. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this because that was just a lot to take in. The guy that's sending the emails is scared of basically retaliation if he gets named. Like, I do not believe this at all. Like, that's like some gangster mob cartel stuff. Because, with all those gangs, there was multiple people involved. I do not believe that there are multiple people involved in the kidnapping of Nancy. I don't believe that. This Nancy is not a TV personality. She's not an actress. She's not well known for inventing something. She's an ordinary person like you and I. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrap my mind around all this. Like, no, there's not going to be multiple people involved. She's not. There's just, oh God, give me a minute here. There's not going to be multiple people involved for the simple fact that the more people that are involved in a kidnapping and unaliving, anything like that, like robbery, whatever you want to call it, the more people involved, the more chances are someone's going to talk. Now, unless this guy sending Harvey or whoever at TMZ these messages, how do I want to put this? Because, like, I know people are going to have different opinions. He could absolutely be involved with this. He could. It could have been, some dumb fuck. It's like, oh yeah, I did this. I helped kidnap Nancy Guthrie, blah blah blah. And he heard it. It could be this, it could be that. But that's a lot of information from, let's say, an outsider of this, I don't want to say group, but of these people that took Nancy. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm looking into
kidnappers. So the FBI never paid that money or never got the Guthrie family to pay the money to the person who was sending us these letters, these emails. I will tell you that the FBI did put around $270 in the Bitcoin account of the kidnappers, and we knew that. We were asked not to talk about that while all of this was going on.
What? Wait. So the FBI told TMZ that they did this? No. FBI is not gonna tell TMZ. Because if you remember when Harvey and the other guy were going live about this or making their videos about this, I believe it was Harvey, correct me if I'm wrong, said they have the link for the Bitcoin account and they've been checking it. And no, ain't no way FBI gonna tell them that.
But they wanted to see if they could trace that person. They couldn't. As for this other person, the FBI took it seriously. They felt, at least in my communications with them, and I had numerous communications, they felt that this person might indeed know. For some reason, they never paid or never asked the Guthrie family to pay that person for information leading to the identity of the kidnappers and Nancy Guthrie's remains.
They're not going to.
I was always confused about that because I'm a skeptical guy, but there's something about those emails that made me believe that this guy may well have known who the kidnappers were. And the reason I say that is that initially he said, in the first letter, he said, time is of the essence, meaning you better hurry up. I can tell you where she is. But then the next day he wrote, time is no longer of the essence. If somebody...
Okay, so the second one was sent on February 6th. And then, so the first one would have been sent February 5th. I'll look into it and see what the actual day is, but I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody is scamming and wants to get money, why would they say time is no longer of the essence? You want to say, no, time is still of the essence, so you can get the money and make people feel that it's urgent to pay it. For him to say it's no longer of the essence, to me it felt more truthful because he was taking away the urgency to pay the money. So I always had this gnawing sense that he might be indeed legit. But for some reason, the FBI never pulled the trigger to pay the money. So
we know why. The
around
guy just
3
told us.
weeks ago,
In Brian's
I
show.
called the FBI back. I hadn't heard from them in a while. And I said, look, it's been gnawing at me for a long time that there's something about this guy that felt legit. And I said, look, what if TMZ does a documentary and that we try and get in touch with this guy and even pay the money? And if he takes us to the location, then you get resolution. The Guthrie family gets resolution. And if he scams us, he scams us. But I just had this
If he scams us, he scams us. I think it's around $65,000 was the second the second demand for money. So he's willing to lose X amount of money? No. That would pay off so much of my house payment or my house. Like, oh, I would love to have that kind of money. But no. Why you're okay with losing around, let's just say $65,000. You're okay. No, nobody's okay with losing that amount of money.
real feeling that it might be real. But we didn't want to interfere with the investigation. So the contact I had at the FBI said, look, that's interesting. Let us get back to you. And I talked to him a few days later, and he said, well, it's something they're looking into. And I thought, okay, fine. And then a week passed, and I called back and left a message. And usually my messages were responsive, where they would call back. and I got nothing back. And I've called a half a dozen times since over the last couple of weeks, and I've gotten.
They're probably like, no, this guy, no, no, we're not going to do that. No, this guy is just looking for views and clicks and to make money. Because if you think, oh, you know what? If you think about it, let's say, okay, we're gonna go with 65,000 as a whole number. So if he pays the $65,000, okay, and let's say the guy is legit, takes them to where Nancy's at. They find Nancy. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. The they're going to do a doc about it. They're going to in return make their money back and then some. Because for one, they're going to post it on X. They're going to post it on YouTube, the Book of Faces, probably TikTok. Anywhere they can post Instagram too. Anywhere they can post it, they're going to make money off of it and then they're going to make their money back. Now, if the guy scams them and doesn't show up, they could angle it as, yo, we paid this, or how do I want to say this? They could do a clickbaity title so to get people click in and stay on. Because I know for like YouTube, like you guys have, like, well, us, you guys, myself, when I watch other YouTubers, we got to stay for like at least, I think it's like 30 seconds for it to count towards our watch hours. They're gonna stay. People are gonna stay because they're gonna wanna know because he's already made this video. So people are gonna stay for longer than the time for the amount of watch hours, and they're gonna get their views, they're gonna get paid. So either way, he's gonna make money off of it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm not even monetized. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm doing this because this is an interest to me. But
Nothing back. For some reason, the FBI has gone radio silent on me, and we have had ongoing discussions because we've tried to be helpful over the many months now that this has been going on. But they've ghosted me, and I don't know what that's about. But
because they know you're going to make money off of it. Because they know that this could go horribly south. Horribly. And Nancy will never be found. That's why.
But I've kind of not talked about it, but at some point, I just want to put it out there that, this felt like maybe we could do some good. And for some reason, the FBI has gone radio silent. I don't understand it. I'm not suggesting that the FBI is doing anything wrong because they've really tried to solve this. But it's just curious to me that this one guy who has sent us, I think, around a dozen emails, it's just somebody that I felt knew something. But for
a dozen emails. Somebody explain to me why TMZ got a dozen, let's say it's a dozen emails, okay, because we don't know the actual amount, but a dozen emails about the whole Nancy Guthrie case. And then Savannah's old news station got 2 that we know of. There could be more, but 2. Why? I honestly think the emails going to TMZ are somebody trying to claim fame for 15 minutes and make a quick buck. That's honestly what I think it is.
whatever reason, this is all kind of evaporated into thin air.
So now what I think is going to happen is that now this information came out, okay? There's probably going to be more emails. There's probably. Or somebody's going to come forward, hey, I know where Nancy's at, this, that, and the other. Or, hey, I heard so-and-so talking about Nancy, it happened in this town in Mexico or this town in, Arizona or whatever. So I honestly think we're going to start to get more information that's going to come out of these notes. Now let me go back here. Let me see. We'll go back to reading some news articles. I don't know. I'm just Let me refresh really fast here and see if there's anything new. Okay, so I don't know if I want to trust Yahoo. IMBD, Philadelphia 6. What's this? Okay, Savannah Guthrie speaks out after reports of the ransom note and died after kidnapping. My dog is whining in the hallway. Wait, Okay, it changed. He wants my son. He wants to get in my son's room. Pug pug. Come on. And I went on X too, and I Googled Nancy's name. Or not Googled, searched her name. And I don't know if X is cleaning up stuff about Nancy, because I can show you guys. It's stuff from like months ago. There's nothing new. Not even all of this information that just came out. There's nothing new about this information. So I'm like, what are you guys doing? Come on. She must also speaks on Tuesday. Do we want to watch it again? I mean, we've already seen it twice. Let me see. Today's show. Early hours of February 1st remains missing, according to authorities. Various ransom notes were sent to media in the days after Nancy's disappearance. Okay, hold on. Let's unmute. This is from a new.
We have new details on the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, law enforcement sources are revealing the contents of a second ransom note that the Guthrie family received.
Now, this comes more than 20 weeks since Guthrie was reported missing on February 1st. ABC's Aaron Katursky is here with all the latest details. Hey, Aaron.
Hi, Sam, Pedro, Charlene, good to see you guys. In the days after Nancy Guthrie vanished from her home near Tucson, her family received 2 ransom notes that the FBI thought might be credible. The family certainly did. The second one indicated Nancy Guthrie was no longer alive. This morning, nearly 5 months after a man in a mask showed up at Nancy Guthrie's front door and abducted her in the dark of night, ABC News can disclose the contents of a second note sent to a Tucson television station days later. The first note demanded a ransom, millions in cryptocurrency. Sources told ABC News the second note claimed Guthrie died shortly after she was taken and was buried in nature, something her daughter Savannah appeared to reference days later in this.
Okay, so hold on. They just said died shortly after she was taken. So did she die like hours and days? Why would they send the first one? And, time is of the essence. And then literally the next day, sorry, she's dead. Like,
Instagram post.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace.
The FBI believes the 2 notes came from the same sender, but investigators have so far been unable to determine who that is. Savannah said she believed the notes were legitimate, but never gave up on her mother. Investigators are still working to identify the armed man seen lurking at Nancy Guthrie's front door. They're also testing a hair found at the home, along with a mixed DNA sample, hoping those.
Yeah, we haven't heard any more about the hair. I kind of wonder if it was a flop. It didn't. Well, we know it didn't have the root on it. You can get DNA from hair that doesn't have a root, but it's harder to do. So I'm kind of wondering if nothing came about that, because we haven't heard anything, and that's been a couple months since they found that.
Those clues will lead to the kidnapper. And there is still $1 million reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's recovery. Nobody's giving up here. And moments ago, Savannah Guthrie reacted to the news about this second note.
I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people to beg people to come forward. Somebody knows something. And this is a news story today that is on your radar, but this is the life that my sister lives, that I live, that my brother lives, that our extended families live, that our children live every day. And we are in agony.
Oh, that just breaks my heart. Every time I hear her, you can tell she's grieving like something fierce. Okay, let's see here. BBC, NBC. Let's see what NBC has to say. Nancy Guthrie case. Second note sent to media outlets said she had died. The note did not contain an apology for allegedly taking Guthrie, but expressed regret. That's what I was talking about earlier. The notes, the regret, the empathy. See? Man, I should be like FBI or something. But expressed regret over her passing. 3 people familiar with the matter told NBC News.
And we understand.
Tonight, for the first time, NBC News is reporting new details about one of 2 notes sent to media outlets regarding Nancy Guthrie's abduction. According to 3 people familiar with the matter, the second note indicated the 84-year-old had died. It did not contain an apology or any request for payment for the release of her body. After that note was sent, Savannah and her siblings posted this message.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
That note was sent just days after media outlets received an alleged ransom note saying Nancy was safe and demanding cryptocurrency in exchange for her release. Investigators involved in the case believe the notes are potentially credible, a sentiment shared by Savannah.
There are a lot of different notes, I think, that came, and I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. I believe the 2 notes that we received, that we responded to, I tend to believe those are real.
Months later, investigators are still trying to identify this masked man seen on Nancy's Nest camera the night she was taken. The Pima County Sheriff's Office says Google, which owns Nest, has retrieved hundreds of other images from cameras around her house, but nothing more showing anything suspicious.
And Liz Kreutz joins us now live in studio. So, Liz, of course, our thoughts and prayers are still with Savannah and her family. The big question tonight, what does this mean for the investigation now?
Well, unfortunately, Tom, not much. Bottom line, this case is still unsolved. There's been no major break in this case, no new developments. The family, Savannah says they are still in agony, hoping for answers. They are still asking the public for help. And remember, there is still that $1 million reward they're offering for any information that leads to Nancy.
Can't imagine what they're still going through. All right, Liz, we thank you for that.
Okay, so
she's here.
This is Nancy went missing February 1st. Second note that says she is deceased February 6th. Okay, so this has been a recovery mission from February 6th. If they fully believe that she is passed on, it's been a recovery. And I mean, a lot of us already knew, kind of had an idea because of the pacemaker and her medication and stuff that she was gone. But now it's legit. It's 100% legit. She's passed away. Why? That's what I hate about, they're not telling us anything because you got people out here still looking. I get it. They're looking for a body. I hate saying a body. I really hate saying that because there's still a little hope of God, I want her to be alive, but we all know she's not. I don't know. I want to show something though, because I'm like, what the fuck? So I did a little search on Nancy Guthrie on X again. This time I didn't do latest. I did top. Okay, because you can go up to the bar and whatever. I'll show you. Okay, so you got JLR, whatever. The second ransom note claimed more than one person is involved, including apologizing and claiming Nancy Guthrie is buried in nature. More than one person. Okay. He's saying, well, how does he know this? How does JLR know this? He doesn't. Okay, let me see. What's this girl saying? Talking about here?
Said as I was reporting
on.
Hi guys, you are probably seeing some reports surfacing this afternoon about the second Nancy Guthrie ransom note. Some media confirming that it said Nancy died and that she was buried in nature. I'm Brianna Whitney, Crime Junkie's breaking news reporter, and I have spent months and months covering the Nancy Guthrie case, boots on the ground. And in my former role, before I came to Crime Junkie, I was made aware of what these ransom notes said as I was reporting on the case. I've seen them with my own eyes, so I want to actually provide more context as to what that second note said. The way that this note was written, it's written as we. We didn't know this, as if it was some sort of team or whoever was involved in this. It said,
how does she know? Nobody's seen this note. Oh my God. The amount of I don't want to say misinformation because there could be a we. But the amount of information coming out with anybody actually laying eyes on this note, like I said, always get the proof. Always see it for yourself with your eyes and not secondhand. That's why I'm on the fence about things between what side of the note I want to be on, Brian Enton's or a fake kind of thing. I need to see this with my own eyes. So I can know what is fact. So make sure when you're reading or listening about the Nancy Guthrie stuff, it's coming from a legit source like Brian. Me, I'm just a small little YouTube person. Like, I don't know. Like, you can believe me, but when I come with the proof and receipts because that's just how I am. Make sure you see it with your own eyes before you fully 100% believe it. Because I can tell you all these news stations running with this, that second note could be fake. It could be. And then all these news stations look like asses. So just see it with your eyes.
We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. It went on to say that they never intended to hurt her during all of this. They continued and said she perished shortly after she was taken. They believe that it was heart related. And then what the reports were confirming earlier today, that she was buried with nature. And maybe the most important part of the second ransom note, it said, nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We are truly sorry. So that's what I know from my reporting on this case. And that second note came in the first week of the investigation. Now, the FBI never came out and confirmed whether or not these ransom notes are legit. We knew that they were investigating them, but months have gone by. They never confirmed more. But we do know that Savannah Guthrie said she believes that these two notes are real. We will keep you up to date on the Nancy Guthrie investigation as it continues. Hi guys, you are probably seeing some
So if Savannah believes that these are real, then there must have been some type of information inside these notes for the family to be like, okay, this is legit. You know, they could have been like, oh, she said this, something only the family would know, or she has on this kind of clothing, only the family would know. Because I mean, who really knows what people wear to bed? Come on, I wear a t-shirt and shorts. You ain't gonna know what kind of t-shirt and shorts I wore to bed. Like, you don't know what color, you don't know if there's a print on the front. Only family would know these details. So if Savannah's saying, "Hey, yeah, this second note is legit," then there's something in this note that's telling Savannah and Annie and Cameron they know what they're talking about. They have mom. Like, oh. Oh, here, let me see here. I did say I did the top here and I didn't do the latest. If you go to the latest, June 15th, May 27th, March 22nd. Ah, that's weird. That's weird to me. But everything's in the top now. Let's go Nerdy Attic. The media is giving different interpretations of the Nancy Guthrie ransom notes, and they are. This is why you interpret your own way. Don't freaking believe me. Well, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe the news. Because we've heard, like that girl just talked about, she gave more information than what the news channel. And we all know the news channel is going to try to get out as much information as possible, as fast as they can, because they want to be the ones breaking the story. If I start talking too fast, please let me know because I do have a habit of doing that. Okay. You know what, or wait, you know what would solve that? Release the damn notes. I love me some Nerdy Attic. He's hilarious. Let there be transparency and let the public read them as they were actually written instead of relaying on conflicting summary or relying on conflicting summaries. Dyslexic here. Sorry, guys. So yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Read it for yourself. What is this? Harvey pushes back on the report. Wait, Harvey and Lehman pushes back on reports that follow-up note contained an apology letter. I want to talk about communications. What is this? Is this just video? Oh, is this the video? Because like if you're new, okay, so this is the video. So you know how the back door of Nancy's was propped open, okay? We don't know why because I'm assuming I don't know. I don't know. Do you guys think like FBI would release okay, because they said Google got multiple stills or whatever off of the cameras around Nancy's property, okay? So there are cameras in the back. We know this. We saw them take them and do what they're doing. Do you think the FBI would release stills or videos if the cameras had them of, let's say, the porch guy or back if there's a back porch guy, if there's a second guy there, do you think they would release these images of this guy walking through her backyard or propping open her door? Because I have questions. So pay attention to this video. So the porch guy he definitely comes from this side. You could see Okay, see, there's his foot right there, so he's definitely walking from this side. Now, did this guy go, like how do I wanna put it? Okay, so this is Nancy's house facing the road. Did he come around from this side of the house, from the back of the house? Is he the one who, like, propped open the back door? 'Cause he's coming from this side. I mean, you could come from this other side because there is a gate over on the side of the house over here. Maybe he didn't know there was a gate, and that's why, if he came around from the back, like, I have so many questions. Nope. Channel nope, we're not doing that one. I don't Okay, we already watched that. See what Brian is talking about. Okay, we watched that. I have that on here. If you're new, if you just came in, you can rewind and watch Brian and stuff and my commentary. The second ransom note in Nancy Guthrie's case said she died and was buried with nature now. According to a source close to the investigation, the note indicated Nancy's death was not intentional, okay, but did not offer a direct apology. See, now Brian, a credible news source that has 584.5K followers. We all know Brian Enton from News Nation. He's credible. He says they did not offer a direct apology, but the girl that we just watched that JLR, had shared or whatever he did, said there was an apology. No. So, make sure you have a trusted news source. But I think that's it because 'cause we're just gonna continue to keep going around on the same thing that everybody is reporting. So, with that, I remind you, follow a credible news source. Make sure you do your own homework. And if you have I am all about opinions. If you have an opinion, if I said something that's wrong or you don't agree with me, throw it in the comments. Let's chat. Let's have a chat about it. But just make sure you see the proof with your own eyes before you start going on and following. Because I mean, you don't have to believe me. I'm very transparent. I show everything. Even when I'm scrolling through things, I will show you what I'm looking at. Just make sure you see the proof with your own eyes. That's all I ask. Right? All right, I'm gonna get off here. I gotta go do some adulting shit. Ugh. If anything more happens to leak out, I